Arc the Elements of Harmony in Savior Worlds by Arcade Striker JK5. Chapter 11. A golden tiara floated up from its place on the dresser and onto Celestia's bed. Looking into a mirror, adjusting it, she looked into a hoof maiden standing by her side. What do you think? She asked, swallowing. A hoof maiden, a red hair unicorn named Featherful, looked over Celestia. It looks good. She bit her lip. Your Majesty, you seem a bit concerned about your appearance today. She took a step forward and held a hoof. Is there anything I can do for you? Celestia looked down at Featherful. What? Oh, no! She pasted a smile on her face. Luna and I just have an old friend showing up today. A translucent white dress floated over, settling onto her rear torso and clenching itself tight. She cantered back and forth, looking her body over. She looked at Featherful. What do you think? Too much? Featherful's mouth opened. It's so... Well, I mean, you don't even wear anything like that to the Grand Galbi Gala! Celestia shrugged. Well, this isn't a gala. This is actually important. She looked herself over once more, then glanced at Featherful. I have 2 meetings this morning. One with General Steele, and one with a subcommittee about... Something. Ugh, she groaned. So much to do today, so little time. Featherful hesitated. Do you suppose they could get the work done without you? Her horn glowed, and several buttons on the dress snapped shut. There you are, Your Majesty. She suddenly swallowed and blushed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean... Celestia chuckled and waved her apologies off. Don't worry. Thank you for your assistance. She finally nodded at her reflection. Best I could do. She looked at her hoof maiden. My friends coming are very special friends. I haven't seen them in a long time, you see. Her gaze drifted off, settling on a point beyond Canterlot's walls. They taught me everything. Celestia cowered beneath the blankets, shivering in fright as the wind howled inside. Rain lashed against the window, and thunder and lightning boomed outside, sending the little filly into paroxysms of fear. The door suddenly opened, and Megan walked in. She flicked on the light and looked at Celestia still under the covers. Counseling, she stated, sitting down on the edge of the bed and pulling back the blanket, revealing the little alicorn. She reached out and stroked her maid. Shh. It's all right to be a little bit scared, Celestia. We're all frightened at one point or another. She looked at the window and the rain pouring down. We just can't let it control us. Celestia raised her head, but yelped, and struck back down as the thunder roared outside. Why is it so loud? She asked. And why are the weather ponies speaking in rain right now? Megan shrugged. They're still trying to work out when to schedule the rain. Cloudsearchers thought it would be better to have the rain during the night, so the days would be sunny. She whistled when a particularly loud BANG echoed through. Maybe not the best idea, she admitted. Celestia shivered, the motion almost scaring her, nodding in agreement. During the day next time, she half whispered. I don't mind some rain if the grass grows. It stays here green and brown. Megan stifled a chuckle. Would you like me here to stay here for a bit? She asked, leaning forward a bit. Sometimes. The lightning scares me a bit, too. It'd be nice to be with such a bright filly like you. Celestia's mouth opened and her eyes eyed. You? She exclaimed, hopping on all fours. But you're not scared of anything, Megan. I've seen you face down. She paused and looked around, smirking down to herself. I've seen you face down kill her friend himself. Megan started. Oh, him. Once I found out his knitting hobby was a kitten, not literally, she added. Megan looked up and out the window. It's like that song Surprise I still sing. You gotta stand up and face your fears. Nothing, they'll just disappear. Celestia finished. She hopped down to bed and walked over the window as the rain fell. She took a breath and... Ha! 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 She paused to look back to Megan. Like that? Megan nodded. Last night. She patted the bed. Now, come on. Even brave fillies like yourself need some sleep in order to face the day. Celestia shook her head, but a loud escaped her mouth. Her white coat blushed a deep red as she trotted over to the bed, hopping onto it. She lay down as Megan tucked her in. Megan? Yes? You'll be here when I wake up. right? Megan nodded and laid back into the bed, wrapping an arm around Celestia. Of course, Celestia. I'll be here. Celestia's head shot back up as a gentle startled her reverie. She looked over at the door. Enter, she said. The door opened, and Spanish Steel walked in. He bowed his head to her. Thank you for your time, your majesty. I have here the reports. She looked up and saw Celestia in her dress, and one of his wings curled over his eyes. Oh, I am so sorry, he exclaimed, backing up. I didn't realize the state you were in. Celestia looked herself over, lifting a leg and glancing at it. State I'm in? What the hey are you talking about? She stared at Steele, narrowing her eyes. I wear far less in the Senate than what you're seeing me wearing now, Spanish Steel. Spanish Steel swallowed. I know, but it's the situation you see. He sighed and lifted his head. So a report of the redistribution of units along the Dragon border. Celestia nodded, and 2 chairs floated over, along with a table and a tea set. She sat down as the kettle lifted up and poured both herself and Spanish Steel's warm Earl Grey. All right. Be thorough but brief, Cheryl. The only thing I want interrupting Luna and I meeting our guests is Tira coming back to life, Discord regaining movement, and the 2 teaming up. Am I clear on this? Spanish Steel straightened to attention and said, Crystal! The princess leaned forward. Good. Let's begin then. Twilight paced about the library's first floor, feather duster jabbing at the shelves, desks, and statues. A roll of parchment and quill floated in front of her. Let's see. Books are sorted. Check. Alice is snapping. Check. Space is cleared for 6 humans and several ponies and 2 princesses. Check. She looked around and smiled. It's all set! There was a sudden pounding on the door, rattling statues, and steady Twilight bouncing up and down. She managed to hop and skip to the door, opening it to find Rarity there. Rarity! What in Equestria? Rarity launched herself at Twilight, draping her 4 legs around Twilight's neck. Twilight! You have to help me! She bawled, shaking Twilight. This is awful! It's horrible! I can't believe it! She let go and tumbled back on her high hooves, and as a fainting cat slid through the door, allowing herself to fall back onto it. Twilight stared as she laid there. Let me guess, she deadpanned. Can't find anything to wear for the party? Rarity sat up on the couch, eyes wide and watery. It's horrible! She wailed, causing Twilight to wince. The only dress I could possibly wear is my gala dress and full regalia, but if I wear that now, I can't wear it next week! She held 4 legs to her head and swooned back, falling back into the cushions. Twilight's right eye twitched. You wore the darn thing for Celestia's party 2 weeks ago! She rolled her eyes to the ceiling. Come on, Rarity. You and I both know Megan won't care about your appearance. So want to get to know the real you, the real Rarity. She reached over and patted her friend on her foreleg. You'll see. Rarity sat up and hopped on the couch. Well, I suppose you're right. Her outfit of choice definitely lent itself more to function than fashion. She turned her and the couch slid out of the library. Twilight. Yes, Rarity? Rarity leaned a bit over and looked down Twilight's back to her twitching tail. Why do you have a ribbon tied there? She rubbed her chin with a hoof. It's a bit plain, but matches your coat wonderfully. Twilight's head went around, eyes widening. Oh, horse feathers! She muttered. She looked back to Rarity, a nervous grin on her face. Well, one of Megan's fillies, Michelle, tied it around there, and I felt it'd just be a bit rude not to be wearing it when I teleport over there. She suddenly stepped on a hoof on the floor. Oh, right! Several books stacked themselves in a neat pile next to herself. Almost forgot the ones Megan left for me for research. She looked upstairs. Spike! I'm heading out! What's the library? She sighed before walking out, Rarity in tow. Spike ran down the stairs a minute later. Twilight! Wait! He yelled, waving a claw. He stopped at the foot of the stairs, sighing. Darn, I wanted to go too. There was a son knocking at the door. Spike ran over and opened up. Good! He said, backing up. Glad you could! He stopped talking at the sight of Pinkie Pie, Mr. and Mrs. Cake standing there. What? Pinkie Pie entered the library. 2 overloaded food carts hissed to her. The Cakes trailed behind her, each one with 3 carts that they pulled inside. Pinkie Pie tugged on a strap and unhitched herself from the cart, spinning around. Ah! Spike! She exclaimed, eyes gleaming. She stalked forward, crouching low. Do you know what's the best time of day? Spike backed up as the Cakes began pulling out trays of cupcakes, muffins, and other assorted baked goods. No, and Please stop. You're freaking me out. Piggy stops and bounces over to her feet. Oh, sorry, Spike. I guess I got was a bit too much in character. She bounced around the room. We're throwing a party for Lincoln, and every pony's invited. It'll be super cool and awesome fun for all. Mr. Cake walked up to Pinky. Pinky, I'm heading back for a second load. Please stay here and set up with Honey Bun. The party pony spun around and jumped onto her hind legs, holding up a four-legged salute. You can count on me! She leaned forward and back onto all fours. Spike, it's time. Spike swallowed. Time? Time for what? Pinky spun around on one hoof, staring straight at Spike. It's time for the air to echo with the sound of our hooves on the dance floor. It is time for the party of parties to echo across Equestria. Mrs. Cake appeared by her side. It's time for a little bit of help, Pinky. Pinky backed up. Wait! She looked to her accents of Spike. Coming? I don't have much of a choice, do I? Spike responded. Pinkie Pie reached behind her and pulled a party hat out of somewhere with her teeth. She reached over and slid it onto Spike's head. That's the spirit! She wrapped a foreleg around his neck and pulled him in tight, ignoring his spinal crest. These are the moments that define fun, Spike. Rarity and Twilight tried it out at Ponyville, up to the hole to the edge of the Everfree. Rarity craned her neck up at the sky. Twilight, there seems to be a worrisome amount of smoke hanging over the trees, she said, pointing over at the rising fumes gathering around her head. She flipped at her mane. I hope it doesn't ruin my style here. Twilight breathed down. Princess Luna told us Spiker and the Old would be here to help out with the rogue dragon. She pawed at the ground. I hope it doesn't ruin the party, or end up with Ponyville burned to the ground. Rarity blinked at Twilight. It tilted her head to the side. Beg pardon? She waved a hoof at Twilight. Not about the rogue dragon, but about King Spikerun. King Spikerun the Old, king of the old dragon cons. He's going to be here. Twilight eyed her friend and took a few steps back. Well, he'll be dealing with the dragon and... Her words trailed off as Rarity galloped off. See you at the party! She shouted irritably, waving a hoof. She looked up at the hall. Okay, Twilight. 3 trips with the humans. Shouldn't be too hard. She canted her head to the side. Maybe one trip? One trip to time out? She groaned, her head dropped. Come on, Twilight! Think! 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 She suddenly shook her head. No! No thinking! Her horn flared, and she disappeared. Megan Gonzalez saw her. Come on! She half shouted, waving her hand as her family exited the house. She looked up at the hole and gripped the strap of her backpack. Mike walked up to her and grabbed her free hand, squeezing it. You all right? Danny rolled up beside him, swatting him on the arm. Don't worry, Mike. Mike is just lost in nostalgia. It'll clear up when the first ungodly beast lumbers out of the Everfree forest he told us about and tries to make a meal out of us, or simply goes straight for Malin. He motioned to Megan's back, and the rifle slung over it. Fortunately, Megan thinks of everything. Mike leaned back, looking at the rifle, then at the red dress she wore. It's an interesting contrast. He quit. He looked at Danny, concern on his face. Danielle and Michelle, they'll be all right. Molly's voice came from behind, seeing their attention. Hopefully, over 20 years, things have improved for Equestrian Alliance, she said as she, Danielle, and Michelle exited the house. She walked over to her older siblings and held her hands out to the side. Sam, should I go get some pistols from your gun safe, or are you packing enough for all of us? Megan turned around and glared at her, then focused on Michelle with a brush in hand and Danielle with a set of notebooks and pens. You girls think with the adults, she said, an edge in her voice. Don't wander out for any reason. Danielle glanced up. Here's a thought by you, Mom. It's been 20 years since you've been there, and Ponyville sounds like a nice town. Megan walked up to her daughter. And there's an evil forest filled with poisonous plants and a dragon that almost killed 3 of them. She pointed at her rifle. There's a reason why I have my rifle with me, Danielle. Things could be all nice and sweet, and then he spoke up. Megan! Megan! He rolled up and tugged her arm. Megan, calm down. Nothing's bad happened so far, all right? Danielle and Michelle are smart girls, and nothing's going to happen, all right? Megan looked down and swallowed. Right, she croaked out. She looked around as Mike and Molly gathered around her. No problems! She cleared her throat and checked her watch. Twilight's be arriving soon. She placed a hand on her daughter's shoulders and squeezed. Just be careful. Mike knelt down and leaned in close to Danny. Danny, what the hell was that? Danny shook his head. Uh, One of the reasons why we left for good. Or so we thought. He smiled at Mike. Don't worry, old buddy. She'll be fine. Mike nodded and stood up. He looked to the hole, but a flash of light in the yard snatched his attention. He looked down as Twilight appeared. And here she is. The humans gathered around Twilight as he wobbly sighted at her feet. She blinked and smiled. Well, good to see everyone again, she chuckled nervously. Yes, very good to see all 6 humans here, she cleared her throat. All right, everyone, please gather as close as you can to me and kneel down. This is going to take a bit of effort from me. Michelle gasped and pointed at the unicorn. Twilight! You're wearing my ribbon. She held up her breast. Maybe later. Twilight blinked. Maybe later. She had closed her eyes as everyone gathered around. Everyone ready? At their nods, her horn glowed, the light brightening. Suddenly, it flared, encompassing everyone in light. A half-second later, all 7 advanced from Earth.
So, what do you think? We got it? It's a bit erratic, but yeah. Monkey on the map, man.
What sort of equipment do they have? Agent Kevin Lark at the FCC reached over and tapped a touch sensitive screen mounted on the back of the van. He and several other agents rode in.
Unidirectional signal, type beam, with no clear signal at all certain points.
He prayed over to his partner.
No wonder Kansas City dispatched us so quickly. Delta gear that they have a civilian nature.
He paused.
Or even from this planet.
The other occupant in the back of the van, Melissa Douglas, shrugged. Yes, but why risk it? She paused as everyone turned to look at her. Well, who wants to mess with them over this?
Kevin shook his head. Wherever they have, we'll find it. He looked at the driver's seat. Okay, Jack, let's get to the next spot. Maybe we'll have better luck with the radio direction finding there.
There was a flash of light at the edge of the Everfree as Twilight and her passengers appeared. Twilight wobbled before kneeling over. Oh, I do want to study, she slurred out, tongue hanging out of her mouth. 5 more minutes, Mom. Almost. End of chapter. Megan stepped over. Twilight? She asked, gently rocking her back and forth. Twilight! She stood up, dropped back to her knees. Oh, that was not smart. She rubbed her forehead. Oh. Anyone else feeling dizzy? The other 5 raised their hands.
It's not bad, close to the ground,
Mike said. He slowly straightened up, but quickly went back down to his knees. I think that's where I'll stay. He looked at Daniel and Michelle. Girls? I'm alright, Danielle said. She opened her notebook and began writing. Effects of mass teleportation on equilibrium, she muttered. Molly, think. Isn't your studies cultural studies, kid? She asked, eyebrow quirking up. Daniel nodded. Yes, but this is what a unicorn does here, so it's a part of their culture. Michelle crawled over to Twilight. Mom, is Twilight okay? Megan shook her head. Well, she's still breathing. She looked at Danny. Danny, a little help, please. At his nod, he grabbed his chair's armrests and hefted her to her feet. Megan groaned, but remained vertical. I think we should be all right, everyone. Mac, Molly, I'm heading to town to get help for Twilight. Stay here with the kids. Twilight groaned. No, I'm all right. She raised her head and shuffled to a sitting position. Sorry, every pony. I mean, everyone. She pointed at her host beneath her and pushed off, stumbling about before Mike and Megan caught her. Whoa! Thanks. Danny coughed to the sand. There's a bit of the problem with the air here. Mike's brow furrowed at his old friend's statement.
Problem? Sweetest tasting air I ever breathed.
Danny coughed again. Yeah, for now. Pointing to the sky, a cloud of black smoke wafted up from the forest. Lace from that dragon you mentioned, Megan, because normally, where there's smoke, that's the end of the cliche. Megan looked up and gasped. Michelle looked up and also gasped. Oh, wow. She hopped up and down, jamming her finger in the air. Is that from a dragon? Is that from a dragon? Uncle D, that's from a dragon, right? Is Mom going to slay it like T-Rex in space? Molly rolled her eyes and rubbed her forehead. Okay, Michelle, calm down. Twilight, pick up. Don't worry. Princess Luna. Whoa! Danny blurted out. Princess Luna? He wheeled about to face Twilight and leaned forward. Princess Luna? Princess Luna, ASA in dark blue alicorn with a move for a key mark. That Luna? Megan looked over. What? If Luna's a princess, what about Celestia? She walked over to Danny's side. Is she a king? Queen? Twilight looked back and forth between the two, mouth open. I'm not... She sighed. No, Celestia isn't a queen. She has the title of princess, too. It's long and complicated, and can we please get back to Ponyville? I'm still a little woozy. Megan and Danny exchanged a glance before nodding to her. Twilight turned and began trotting off, leading them all into Ponyville. Megan leaned down next to Twilight as they approached downtown. I'm sorry, she said. We're late. Excited. And I've got so many questions right now about what's going on. She looked to the sky and a rainbow-colored blur above. Even though I think I have some of the answers. Twilight nodded. I figured you would, and I'd love to tell you what I know. Her head drooped and she looked away, shoulders also lowering. But I don't know all of it, and if I give you some answers, they might lead to the wrong conclusions. Megan nodded as they turned a corner, and the Ponyville Public Library came into full view, complete with a newly hung banner stretched between two poles reading, Welcome back, Megan, Molly, and Danny. Several tables laden with food were arrayed around the building, attracting curious ponies. She looked to Michelle and Daniel. Give us a second to figure out what's going on. She looked back at the banner and shook her head, chuckling slightly. Piggy Pie suddenly burst into view, bounding up into Megan's arms. Do you like it? Do you like it? She likes it. I know she likes it. She hugged down Megan's embrace and landed in Mike's arm. And he likes it too. She leaned forward, kissing him on the nose, before leaping out and landing on the grass. There's just one teeny problem here. Mike blinked and rubbed his nose. And that will be, he asked, staring down at the pink pony and inching back, toward the hole in his house. Pinkie Pie cocked to her side and ears flat down. Just who are you? She suddenly bounded to her feet. Oh, of course! You must be Megan's family! That means you're all here for the pony! She waved a foreleg at the tables and banner. I hope you like it! Princess Celestia told us what kind of foods you like since she knew you were back. Twilight raced over, tackling Pinkie and jamming her hoof into her mouth. She looked up at Megan, grinning maniacally. Now, Pinkie, no need for that! She leaned in, eyes turning to slits. Right? She gritted out. Pinkie nodded and bounded off while Mr. Cake trotted over with a piece of folded paper in his mouth. He said, pushing his hair forward slightly. Twilight folded the paper out of her mouth and unfolded. Looking it over, she swallowed and panted slightly. The Princess Ponies? Okay. King Spiker and I knew about, but Morning Glory and family from Flare Providence? And possibly Queen Rose does as well? The paper dropped to the ground, and Twilight stared off into space, the occasional chuckle coming from the mouth. Mike looked to Megan. Any of those names sound familiar? Megan smiled and nodded, clapping her hands together. Morning Glory and Queen Rose dress up from, wait, Flare Providence? She knelt down and picked the paper up, looking over. Hey, Flare Providence! She looked back up and held it out to Mike, to Korea too. They're old friends. I delivered Morning Glory's son, Blazing Day! She sighed. This Spiker had no clue, but the princesses are old friends too. Danny wheeled around towards Twilight, still standing there. He waved a hand in front of her face and then snapped his fingers. Okay, well, she's broken. He looked back. I think we're on our own for the moment. Spike suddenly burst from the library, ran up to Twilight, throwing his arms around her neck and hugging her. Twilight! Help! He shouted. Pinkie Pie's got crazy when we're party playing, and the library's been invaded by pastries, and I don't know what to do! Twilight slowly blinked before her tired body shuddered. Wait, what? She looked around and focused on Mr. Cake. Mr. Cake! She called out, getting to Baker's area attention. Is everything ready for the party? Oh, and thank you for the preparations! She looked around. I had no idea it would be this big. Mr. Cake tipped his head forward. Thanks, Twilight. And don't worry, we got everything under control here. He looked at Pinkie. All right, let's make sure the reserves out back are all set, Pinkie. Honey Bunch will be inside. As the two entered the library, Twilight looked up to Megan and Mike. Princess Celestia has an invitation for you two to come to Camelot with me for a little get-together before the main party. Her gaze drifted to Megan and to Danny and Molly. But I'm wondering if Danny or Molly should go too. Mike looked over as Danny wheeled around to face the group. I don't think it'd be good to leave the kids here alone. No thanks, Twilight. Twilight went to Waffle Hoof. None taken, Mike. Mike smiled down her.
Thanks. But anyway, maybe I should stay, and Danny and Molly should go to Megan.
He placed his hand on his chest.
I have a feeling you two have more pressing issues than I do.
Danny nodded, tested Mike a salute. Thanks, bud. He looked over to Danielle and Michelle standing out to the side. Ready for police, kids? Michelle squeaked and wrung her hands. She walked over to Spike and knelt down. Are you a baby dragon? She held her arms out. Can I hug you, please? Megan shook her head. Michelle, please. Spike's not a plush doll, too. Spike strode forward, holding up a paw. Don't worry, Megan. I'm used to it for Fluttershy. Turns out Marisol can't help it when it comes to Spike. He rubbed his fingers on his scales. Michelle raced forward, wrapped her arms around Spike, pulling him to a hug. Oh, you're so adorable! I'm Steve, Dave. She sat him back down on the ground, patted on his spines. So cute! I'm with Michelle on this. Spike is adorable. Danielle looked over at the sign in front of the library. She knelt down in front of Twilight. Twilight, will it be possible for me to go inside and read some books, please? She paused. I'm going to the University of Kentucky, and my major is in anthropology, with a minor in folklore and mythology, so I am itching to read everything in there. Twilight gasped. Really? That's great! She hopped down around Danielle, leaning her over and opening the door. My home is your home, Danielle. She peeked in the side and leaned back out. Just watch the tables of food and drink. Danielle ducked inside as Twilight turned back, trying over to Megan and Mike. Okay, Spike! She tried over, as Spike was still being cuddled by Michelle. Spike! She waited for him to look over before continuing. Take a letter, please. Spike grumbled, and as a quill and scroll floated over to him. Sorry, Michelle, he said as he put from thin air. Duty calls. He looked over to Twilight. Fire away, boss! Twilight chuckled. I'm not your boss. She coughed to the hook before speaking. Dear Princess Celestia, due to unforeseen circumstances, Megan requests that her husband Mike remain behind to watch over their children, while Molly and Danny accompany Megan and myself to Canterlot for your meeting. Signed, Twilight Sparkle. Spike rolled the scroll up and breathed deeply, letting loose a snort of green flame. It incinerated the scroll, sending the smoke winding to Canterlot. He looked at the humans inside. Makes me wish we had their phone number up at Canterlot. Mike snapped his fingers to lean for a bit. What? Sent the scroll up to the princess? He looked at Molly. Did dragons do that when you were here? Molly shook her head. Nope. Then again, there was only one dragon leading you back then. She crossed her arms and looked at the sky. His name was Spot, too. Bit of a goof, but a great friend. I wonder what happened to him. Megan shook her head and wiped her eyes. Yeah, Spike was a great guy. A baby dragon, and only a little larger than you, Spike. He really grew on me. Even when he hit his first growth spurt. She blinked. He's probably in some cave now with a hoard of gemstones and golden coins. Mr. Cake walked out of the library, clearing his throat. Well, the food's all set. If anyone wants to take in, he looked at the sky. Hopefully the others begin showing up soon. Spike opened his mouth, but he grunted and burped, letting loose another gallon of green fire. The flame spiraled out, forming into a scroll. It floated in front of him and unfurled itself, letting himself grab a hold of it. Dear Twilight, I commend Megan and Mike for thinking of their children, and apologize for not taking them into account. Of course, he may stay behind while Molly and Danny come to Canterlot. I look forward to seeing them within a half hour. Signed, Princess Celestia. Twilight caught their hose together, grinning. Oh, I can't wait to see the princesses again! She looked at Megan, and her expression fell. Megan, are you all right? Megan looked down and shivered slightly. Well, oh, yeah. See my Twilight off. I'm fine, thanks. She turned around, finally spotting Caroline in the distance, a faint smile crossing her lips. It'll be good to see her again.